What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose podcast, where it's our privilege to show up with you each and every week, get you moving, get you thinking, and hopefully just put a little smile on your face, put a little pep in your step, and a little purpose in the day. So I want to thank you all for being here. We can't do it without you. And this week, I want to spend some time going solo on something Andrea and I have been talking a lot about lately and really reflecting on is the many forms of wealth in our lives, the many forms of wealth. When we hear the word wealth, most of us, we immediately think of money, right? Financial wealth is the most obvious, the most measurable, and oftentimes the most comparable. It's what we use to judge our status with others, their status with us. Sometimes we even use it to eliminate who we're going to put in our circle or what circles we want to be in based on what people are earning, what they're saving, what we think their net worth is. It's the one that society tends to glorify, elevate on a pedestal, looking up to millionaires and billionaires and now trillionaires and letting them influence so many of our daily decisions. And sadly, it's the one many of us use to judge how we feel about ourselves and our own successes or our own shortcomings. We chase our financial wealth relentlessly, right? We sacrifice time, energy, and sometimes even our values in pursuit of it. And in that pursuit, oftentimes we overlook the other forms of wealth, those that are quieter, less flashy, but I would argue more sustaining, and the ones that really fulfill us. So that's what I want to take some time this week to talk about is what are the other forms of wealth? How can we measure our life and see how wealthy we truly are, right? The first one I'm going to talk about is your physical health, your ability to move, to run, to hike, to play ball, to lift things and put them away in your garage. That's wealth, right? It's easy to take for granted until it's gone. We push our bodies to the margins while life demands our attention elsewhere. Sometimes we neglect our bodies. We put off our workouts. We don't eat like we should. And then one day our body sends us a wake up call, and hopefully we get to answer it before it's too late. And if you don't believe that health is wealth, ask somebody that's lost their health. Ask somebody that's lost the ability to move about freely, to do the things they used to do, to tie their shoes, to lift small objects, and ask them what they would give again to get that back. Right? I heard this quote that reminds me of this, and I really like it. It says, you may have 99 problems, but once you have a health problem, you have one. So health is our wealth. So as we spend so much time focused on our financial investments, what is our investment in our health? Are we following through on that? Are we creating that return on investment so that our body can get us to the finish line, that we can live a long, fulfilled life doing the things we want to do? Second area I would say is our wealth, is our relationships. The people we surround ourselves with, the ones who lift us up, who challenge us, love us, are very much a form of our wealth. The joy of shared laughter, the comfort of being understood, the strength of support in our hard times. These are riches that no bank account can match. And without meaningful relationships, all the money in the world feels hollow. So when you're wondering about your wealth, look at the relationships around you. Look at the people you can count on, the ones you trust, the ones that have been there when your kids were born, celebrated birthdays, marriages, weddings, right? All that stuff, those are a form of wealth. And sometimes they're easy to overlook. Another form of wealth is our freedom. The ability to choose your path, to reinvent yourself, to move about as you wish, to challenge norms, create change. That's the kind of richness that fuels your purpose inside of you. When you have freedom, you have the space to live aligned with what your values are, to make changes when change is needed, to pivot when obstacles occur, or the path you were on no longer fulfills you. If you don't think freedom is a form of wealth, look at people that are just randomly been born in countries that don't have the freedom to do what we do here. Don't have the freedom to sell our stuff and just go live off the grid. To say, wait a second, I don't want to pay all that money in taxes. I want to focus on living more free, more minimalistically, because I feel differently. I feel alive. I feel free. So freedom is a wealth. And then there's another wealth that I've found that I've really grown to enjoy over the last couple of years, and that's the wealth that I find in deep, honest conversations. The kind where you listen, not to be right, but to understand, where your assumptions are challenged, and you walk away not just being informed, but transformed, right? I walk away not feeling drained, not feeling like, oh man, I can't get that time back, but feeling uplifted that I just had this conversation, that I learned something, that my assumptions might have been wrong. Maybe I didn't know what I thought I knew. And these conversations don't require agreement. They require presence. They require active listening. They often leave us with a deeper appreciation for others and for ourselves, because we realize nobody has this shit figured out. We're all moving through it at different phases, different speeds. And when we share that with each other, we find commonality. We find, dare I say, grace for others, that nobody is perfect. And then sometimes we find that grace for ourselves and realize we don't have to be perfect. You see, wealth isn't just what you earn and put in the bank, or what you buy and put in your garage. To me, I think a wealthy life is what we experience, the people we share it with, the journey we're on, the being present in the moment, to not miss all the little things that actually make up our lives, focus solely on the big thing that we often find is disappointing once we get there. A wealthy life is living where you're enjoying your day, days full of conversations, reflective moments, physical work to move my body, maybe a conversation that challenges what I thought I knew or teaches me something that I never knew. When we think like that, I bet most of us are far wealthier than we ever imagined. So today, this week, I challenge you to take inventory, not of your bank account, but of your life. Where are you truly worthy or wealthy? And on the flip side, where might we be bankrupt without even realizing it? Where might we need to put some attention in our days before it passes us by? Give that some thought. I'd love to hear your comments on your favorite podcast apps or social media. Share us the thoughts on where you're wealthy, where you might need to put some, make another deposit because you're getting a little bankrupt or a little low. And share those with us. Help us continue to grow and meet our purpose of being the most impactful podcast in the world. And let's keep building this community. Let's keep building this movement. And thank you all for showing up each and every week. Have a great week. I look forward to hearing your reflections.